In this video, we'll be seeing how to place different widgets in the Tkinter window, that is using the pack method, which we have seen already in the previous video, and the grid method and the place method. So the pack method, what it does is that it finds the first empty spot and then it places it inside the Tkinter window. The grid method, it sees the whole Tkinter window as grids and columns, that is rows and columns, and places it in the row 0 and row column, and it goes on like that. For example, we can create a table which is going to be placed inside the root window, and it should have text as first, something like that, and we'll place this in row equals to 0 and column equals to 0. And we can have the same thing and again, and here we'll name it as second, and now we'll give this as row 1 and column 0. If we do this, we can see that the first is placed in the row 0 and column 0, and the second is placed in the row 1 and column 0. If we change this as row 0 and column 1, it will be side by side, yeah, so first and second. And so similarly we can have this as the same thing as third, and this can go in the row 1. If you give it, it should look like a inverted 7 shape, yeah. So first, second and third, so row 0 column 0, row 0 column 1, and row 1 column 0 in this case. Suppose if we give this as row 5 and column 0, the answer is going to be the same as the last one, because the tkinter, it takes as the rows as 1 2 3 4 5. Suppose in case if the row 2 3 4 is empty, even if we give row 5, this is going to be placed in the row 2. That is, if the elements of the rows are in between, if it is empty, the last element which is there, in our case we give it as fifth, is placed in the row 2. In case if you want some space, we can do it like this, something like this, row 1, and if we copy 2 3, and if we execute this, now we can see some space will be there, yeah. The same thing we can do it for the columns and rows also. This is one method of placing it inside the tkinter window, and the next method is called as the place method, which sees the whole tkinter window as xy coordinates. That is, we have to specify the x value and y value, and it will be placed, that widget will be placed inside that x and y coordinate. For example, we'll have the same, and we'll specify this root.geometry. For now, we'll have this as 200x200, and the same thing we'll do the place method. Place, inside this we have to specify the x value, we'll give it as 0 and y equals to 0. If we execute this, it should be in the top left corner, yeah. So this is the tkinter window takes this as the 0 0 coordinate, and it goes on like this, positive x-axis and positive y-axis. Even if we give the negative values for x and y, it will be placed outside the screen, it won't be giving in an error. So if we give x is 50 and y is 50, it will be in this place. So this place will be the x equals to 50 and y equals to 50. What if we give the same thing again, but instead of the name, x is equals, the value second. So now I'm giving this place as x is equal to 50 and y is equals to 50. If I run this, we can see that, yeah, the first is also placed in the x equals to 50 and y equals to 50, and also the second is overlapping the first text, so the first is not visible. if I give this as x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 50, in this case you can see that the first is visible. That is because second is placed in the coordinate x is equals to 0 and y equals to 50, and the first is there in the coordinate x is equals to 50 and y is equals to 50. Yeah, so that is how this place method works. And one more thing you can do in this is that you can grid method. We'll comment this for the first time, and now I'm doing grid of row equals to 0 and column equals to 0, and then I'm placing this at the row, I mean the place at x is equals to 0 and y equals to 50, and this won't give any error because the tkinter window, it sees the grid as a rows and columns, but it sees the place variable as the coordinates, so there's no clash between the grid method and place method. And also the same for the goes for the pack method, and also the same goes for the pack method. That is, if I give this as pack and if I run this, yeah, the pack method finds the first empty spot and places the first in that empty spot, but the place method sees the coordinate and places it there in that particular coordinate. The only thing we can't use is the grid and pack together or pack and grid together. The place method has full freedom of using it. So the next thing which I want to show you is the detailed features about the label. So for now, if the text that is called as the first is just so plain, if I want to change the font style of the text, I can give that as font of the first one is going to be the what style, that is Arial or normal and something like that. So for this, if I give Arial and the size is going to be 30, and if I give this as the third parameter is going to be the font style, that is it should be underlined or it should be bold, something like that. So if I give bold and if I run this, you can see that the font style and size is changed. And suppose if I want to change the font color of the text, the command will be foreground or fg equals to what color. Suppose if I give green. And also if I want to change the background color of the text, initially it will be same as white or the light gray. If I want to change the background color, the command will be background, which is equal to suppose if I give yellow. So if I run this, you can see that the background color is yellow and the text color is green. So if I want to change the way how it looks, suppose if I want the text to be popped up or to go a little bit below the screen, the command will be if relief will be equals to sunken. Yeah, so now you can see that the text is a little bit going inside the window, and if I want this to be popped up, the command will be something like raised, RAISED. Yeah, now you can see that the text is a bit popped up. It's not a button, but it's just a text that is popping up outside the tkinter window. Yeah, so regarding this label variable, it is hopefully that's all. And if you want to change the text which is inside the label variable, there is a method called as configure. Actually, configure works for almost all the functions inside the tkinter. That is label. Suppose if I have this label as L1 equals to, and I'm placing it separately, L1 dot place, and the method will be called as L1 dot configure. It will be configure of what we want to change. We want to change the text. So text will be like second first or second hello or hello world hello. If I run this, So if I run this, you can see that it is printing hello there. First, initially we have given the text as first, and then we are giving that hello there. So if you want to see the change, we can do one thing, import time, and after the first thing we can do the time dot sleep for 3 seconds and then change the text. So now you can see the difference. Yeah, so initially the label was created and it was placed inside, and after 3 seconds only the window popped up showing it that hello world. So if you want this to be more clear, you can do def time 1, something like that, time dot sleep for 3 seconds, and we can call this time 1. So that is how this label works. And moving on, we are going to see about the button now. And suppose b1 equals to, we are first creating a button of yeah, so button, and we are placing it inside the root variable, and the text will be there, and we can just pack it inside the. So I want to show you one more thing. So we're not going to pack it inside, we're going to grid it inside this. So grid of row equals to 0 and column equals to 1. And here also we are going to grid of row equals to 0 and column equals to we can give that as 0. If we run this, we can see that it will be the side by side of the text. Yeah, so there it is. Suppose we can give that as 400 into 400 for seeing this better. Yeah, you can see that here the header is there, and if I want to change the font style and background color, it is going to be the same thing as the label. What I did is the same, which is going to, I'm doing the button like font equals to like normal, and the size will be 20, or and the thing will be underlined. Yeah. And if you want the foreground color and background color, the same thing, fg equals to blue, and if I want the background color equals to it as red. If I run this, you can see the difference that, wait a minute, okay, sorry, it is font. This underline. Yeah, so if I run this, you can see that the button is there, but if I click the button, the font color disappears and the font background also disappears. So in order to retain the font color and font background, the command is going to be that active background, that is the same as the background, in this case it is red, and active foreground, that is going to be the same as the foreground, that is blue. If I run this, you can see the difference that even if I click, the text color and the background color is retained. So if I want this text, that button, to be little bit go inside of the screen, that's how we did for the label variable. Relief is equals to SunChem. Yeah, so now you can see that the button is bit inside the screen. The default value will be raised in, but if you want to change also, you can do using this method called as relief. Yeah. Okay, so I'm ending the video right here. In the next video we'll be seeing about the entry field, and also the small thing I left about the grid method also will be covering in the next video. And we'll also be seeing about the frames, about how to create a frame and how to place it inside the take enter window. Hopefully I've covered everything regarding the label and button. So thank you for watching, guys. Do subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for more updates.